lying stuck around the stones. What are these sleepers? The sleepers are logs of wood that have got stuck in the edges of the river. Lying stuck around the stones until someone came to dislodge them. What is the meaning of dislodge them? Free them. एक धक्का मार दिया तो फिर वो फिर से पानी के फ्लो में जाने लगते हैं. अभी तक वो अटके पड़े हैं. You're writing the meanings, ना? And send them on their way until floods lifted them and jostled them along. Jostled means pushed. The crocodile had no need to hide himself. He came to rest in the glassy shallows. Shallows means that area of the river where the water is not deep. Among logs and balanced there on tiptoe on the rippled sand, with only his raised eyes out of the water. You know how the crocodile is in the water, you can only see the eyes, बाकी सब उसका जो body part है, that is inside the water. And raised nostrils breathing the clean sunny air. Around him, broad sparkling water travelled between cliffs and grass and forested hills. What are cliffs? Sharp edges of the mountains. A jungle track came out of the scrub each side. Scrub means plants, bushes. And down to the sun-whitened stepping stones on which a little flycatcher was flirting and trilling along. Flycatcher is an insect. Flirting and trilling along means just hanging around there, singing its insect songs.
Is it an insect or a bird?
Insect.
No, I just flirting, was flirting and trilling along.
Flirting and trilling means just hanging around there, singing its insect songs. The mugger crocodile, mugger is a breed of crocodile. इसको हम मगर मच्छ बोलते हैं. Blackish brown above and yellow white under, lay motionless, able to wait forever till food came. His antediluvian saurian, so this is the biological, zoological, scientific name of crocodile. This prehistoric joggerton, another name for crocodile, ferocious and formidable. Formidable means dangerous. A vast force in the water, propelled by the unimaginable and irresistible power of the huge tail, lay lapped by the ripples. Lapped by the ripples means the water is hitting its body. A throb in his throat. Throb means beating. Like we have the pulse beating, no? Pulsating.
So this saurian.
And to antediluvian saurian is the scientific name of crocodile. His mouth running almost the whole length of his head was closed and fixed in that evil bony smile, and where the yellow underside came up to it, it was tinged with green. Tinged meaning light color. Any other word page number 93 not understood?
Frog.
Beating, pulsating. What is your name, beta? Rahul. Rahil.
Ting.
Tinted, lightly colored.
No, not tinted. Ting. T-I-N-G.
Tinged.
Ting.
Tinged is lightly colored. So read page number 93. तो अगर किसी को कोई doubt होगा तो पूछो. Propelled means pushed forward.
From the start, right?
Yeah, from the start.
From deep water came the crocodile. Out of black water curved the whirlpools and into the frill of old shallows by the stepping stones. He was twice the length of a tall man, and inside him, among the stones which he had swallowed to aid digestion, rolled a silver bracelet. Timber was being floated down this great Indian river. From forests further up, and there were sleepers lying stuck around the stones until someone came to dislodge them and send them on their way, or until guards lifted them and jostled them along. The crocodile had no need to hide himself. He came to rest in the glassy shallows among logs and balanced there in tiptoe on the rippled sand, with only his raised eyes out of the water and raised nostrils breathing the clean sunny air. Around him, broad, sparkling water traveled between cliffs and grass and forested hills. A jungle track came out of each side and down to the sun-whitened stepping stones on which a little flycatcher was flirting and drilling along. The mother crocodile, blackish brown above and yellowy white under, lay motionless, able to wait forever their food came. This antediluvian saurian, this prehistoric juggernaut, ferocious and formidable, and a vast force in the water, propelled by the unimaginable and irresistible power of the huge tail, lay lapped by ripples, a frog in his throat, his mouth running almost the whole length of his head, was closed and fixed in that evil moment smile. And where the yellow underside came up to it, it was tinged with green.
What is propelled?
Pushed forward.
What is formidable?
Dangerous. Anything else not understood? Try to see. from the day perhaps 100 years ago, when the sun had hatched him in a sandbank and he had broken his shell and got his head out and looked around, ready to snap at anything before he was even fully hatched. From that day, when he had at once made for the water, ready to fend for himself. Fend for himself means take care of himself, feed himself. Immediately, he had lived by his brainless craft and ferocity. Brainless craft means an activity that does not require you to involve your mental faculty too much. So it is almost an automatic action, an automatic skill. Understanding?
No, can you repeat?
Automatic skill. Like walking comes to human beings automatically almost, you don't think while walking, आप अपने आप चलते हो किस तरीके से, तो उसको एक डेंजरस होना, सामने वाले जानवर को खा लेना was a brainless skill that he had. He didn't have to use his head to be able to attack the other animal. It came to him automatically. That is his nature. He had lived by his brainless craft and ferocity, escaping the birds of prey. Birds of prey means that the birds that would eat the baby crocodile.
What is the meaning of ferocity?
Dangerous.
Let's start.
Automatic activity. Birds of prey लिखा. And the great carnivorous fishes that eat baby crocodiles. He had prospered. Prospered means grown up, safe, grown up without being eaten up. Catching all the food he needed and storing it till putrid in holes in the bag. Putrid means gone sour because it is spoiled. जिसको बोलते हैं बासी खाना, gone sour because it is spoiled. In holes in the bag. Tepid water, tepid means warm. Warm, garam, kosa. Tepid water to live in and plenty of rotted food grew him to his great length. This is how he became from a baby crocodile to a full-grown crocodile. Now nothing could pierce the inch-thick armored hide. Armored hide means skin, and armored means it is like a weapon. It can attack other creatures.
The scaly skin of the
Yeah, scaly skin. Other animals are not able to bite the crocodile because it has a inch thick skin, almost like a hard rock. Not even rifle bullets, which would bounce off. Only the eyes and the soft underarms offered a place. He lived well in the river, sunning himself sometimes with other crocodiles, muggers, as well as the long snouted fish eating gharials. Gharials are a species of crocodiles. On warm rocks and sandbanks where the sun dried the clay on them quite white, and where they could plop off into the water. Sandbank means the river bank. Plop means dive into the water. Where they could plop off into the water in a moment if alarmed. The big crocodile fed mostly on fish, but also on deer and monkeys that came to drink, perhaps a duck or two. But sometimes here at the ford, he fed on a pie dog full of parasites or a skeleton cow. Ford is an area of the river. Pie dog is a wild dog that lives in the jungle. And sometimes he went down to the burning ghats and found the half-burned bodies of Indians cast into the stream. Beside him, in the shoals, as he lay waiting, glimmered a blue gem. Shoals are the banks of the river.
And pie dog?
Wild dogs. Glimmered means shone, shining, just golden. It was not a gem though. It was a sand-honed glass that had been rolling about in the river for a long time. By chance, it was perforated right through the neck of a bottle, perhaps a blue whale. You will read page number 94. What is your name?
Aryan.
Aryan.
Was a day perhaps 100 years ago, when the sun had hatched him in the sand, and he had broken his shell and got his head out and looked around, ready to snap at anything before he was even fully hatched. From that day, when he had at once made for the water, ready to fend for himself immediately, he had lived by his brainless card and ferocity, escaping the birds of prey and the great carnivorous fishes that eat baby crocodiles. He had prospered catching all the food he needed and storing it till potted in holes in the ground. Not as potted, UTIRI.
I think I already gave the meaning. Spoiled food.
That they wanted to live in the in and plenty of rotted food gave him to his great. Now nothing could pierce the inch-thick armored hide, not even rifle bullets, which would bounce off. Only the eyes and the soft underarms offered a plea. He lived well in the rivers, sharing himself sometimes with other crocodiles, muggers, as well as the long-snouted fish-eating hyenas. On warm rocks and sandbanks, when the sun dried the clay on them white, and where they could plop off into the water in a moment if allowed. The big crocodile fed almost on fishes, but also on deers and monkeys that came to it. Perhaps a duck or two. But sometimes here at the fort, he fed on a pea dog full of parasites or a skeleton. And sometimes he went down to the burning guards and the half-burned bodies of Indians cast into the stream. Beside him in the shoals, as he lay waiting, glimmered a blue gem. It was not a gem though. It was a sandbone glass that had been rolling about in the river for a long time. By chance, it was perforated right through. The neck of a bottle, perhaps a blue.
And what is perforation?
Broken off from a blue bottle. Perforated means broken.
Then can it be breached?
Breached, perforated.
Yes.
No, perforated means एक कांच की बॉटल थी ब्लू कलर की, उसमें से एक छोटा सा टुकड़ा टूट गया है और वो रिवर में काफी देर से सैंड में झूल रहा है. Perforated means broken off. Any other word? In the shrill, noisy village above the fort, out of a mud house, the same color as the ground, came a little girl, a thin, starveling child. Starveling child means thin. Dressed in an earth-colored rag. Rag means torn clothes. She had torn the rag in two to make skirt and sari. Sibia was eating the last of her meal, chapati wrapped round a smear of green chili. Smear means spread about. You know how we spread jam or ketchup on our toast? So she had smeared green chutney on the chapati and she has made a roll and she is having it like a prank. A smear of green chili and rancid butter. Rancid means sour. You know आप chips खाते हो? Onion and sour cream. So that's sour cream, rancid. And she divided this also to make it seem more and with it showing straight white teeth. With her ebony hair, ebony means brown color. And great eyes and her skin of oil brown cream. She was happy, immature, child woman about 12 years old. barefoot of course, and often goosey cold on a winter morning. Goosey cold means it is so cold that your arm has goosebumps.
So very good.
Yeah.
What is called?
Yeah, avoid. Barefoot, of course, and often goosey cold on a winter morning, and born to toil. Born to toil means उसका जन्म ही काम करने के लिए हुआ है. Toil means work hard.
So born to work hard.
Yeah. In all her life, she had never owned anything but a rag. She had never owned even one anna. Anna is a denomination, small denomination of money.
Small dimension of
Money, paisa. 1 rupee is divided into 100 paisa. Each paisa is divided into 4 annas. Each anna is divided into 16 pieces. We don't have those denominations anymore. पहले होता था. That is why a 25 paisa used to be called a 4 anna, because that was 4 annas. Not a piece, not a pie even, to buy small, a handful grown glass bead from that stall in the bazaar where they were piled like stars. Piled means kept one on top of the other. You are writing the word meanings in the modules, na children? I am exactly giving those words which are there in the module. Or one of the thin glass bangles that the man kept on a stick, and you could choose which color you'd have. She knew what finery was, though. Finery means dressing up well. She had been with her parents and brothers all through the jungle to the little town at the railhead where there was this bazaar. And she had walked through all the milling people. Milling people means people who work in the mill. Mill is a factory. And the dogs and monkeys full of fleas, and the idling, gossiping, bargaining humanity, spitting beetle juice, heard the bell of a sacred bull clonking as he lumped. Clonking means making noise. As he lumped along through the dust and hubbub. Lump means walk lazily. Hubbub means crowd. Crowd, breed, many people. She had paused, amazed, before the sweetmeat stall to gaze at the brilliant honey confections. Confections means sweet dishes. Mithais. Crowd. Abuzz with dust and flies. Abuzz means full of. They smelled wonderful, above the smells of drains and humanity and cheap cigarettes. At home, she sometimes tasted wild honey or crunched the syrup out of the stalk of sugar cane. But these sweets were green and magenta.
Abbas full of.
हाँ, full of.
That's
उसके ऊपर फ्लाइज बस करती रहती है ना, तो अबस
action.
स्वीट डिशेस. What is your time today? 6th. You will read page number 95.
It is still noisy village above the brought out of a mud house, the same color as the ground came a little girl, a thin, starveling child dressed in an earth-colored rag. She had made torn the lace into to make skirt and sari. Cynthia was eating the last of her meat, chapati wrapped round a layer of green chili and rancid butter, and she divided this also to make it seem more. And a and bit, showing straight white teeth, with her gleaming hair and great eyes, and her skin of oiled brown cream. She was a happy, immature child woman, about 12 years old, barefoot of course, and often goosey colored on a winter morning, and born to toil. In all her life, she had never owned anything but a lad. She had never owned even one anna. Not a not a pie, even to buy, say, a handful of blown glass bead from that stall in the bazaar, where there were pied like stars, or one of the thin glass bangles that the man kept on a stick, and you could choose which color you had. She knew what finally was, though she had been with her parents and brothers all through the jungle to the little town at the Dave head where there was a bazaar, and she had walked through all the milling people and the dogs and monkeys full of cheese, the idly gossiping, bargaining humanity, sniffing till Jews heard of pair of scarred were broken as he lumped along through the dust and herbs. She had paused amazed before the sweetmeat stall to gaze at the radiant honey confection, a buzz with dust and flies. This smelled wonderful. Above the smell of brains and humanity and cheap cigarettes, at home she sometimes tasted white honey or crunched the syrup out of a stall of sugar cane. But these sweets were green and magenta.
Any other words not understood?
Chips.
What is
Eating-
chips तो आया ही नहीं chapter में.
What
Then the volume will come on the next page. Spitting beetle juice is pan. Beetle is pan. Any other word? यहाँ तक चैप्टर समझ में आ रहा है? बेसिकली देखा जाए तो स्टोरी में अभी तक कुछ हुआ नहीं.
Introduction of the
Sibia and the crocodile, है ना? So she is almost writing an essay on Sibia, writing an essay on crocodile, but as such story में कुछ हुआ नहीं अभी तक. कुछ plot नहीं आगे बढ़ा. Plot आगे बढ़ेगा अभी. There is a story to the chapter. ठीक है? So this is how Nora Brooke writes. Very difficult to write like that. She writes pages and pages with nothing happening. She's just describing and describing. Because she used to go on that elephant rides, no? So she used to see this much as a child. And now as a grown up, she's writing all that. So it's very interesting.
And also like there's not like much happened. She
होगा
ended like shortly.
होगा story है पढ़ेंगे हम लोग. It's a huge chapter. That's why this chapter is generally taken in the second term, but finish 4 pages and we have like 8 more pages to do. Then there was the cloth stall stacked with great rolls of new cotton cloth, stamped at the edge with the marker's sign of a tiger's head, and smelling so wonderful of its dressing, straight from the mills, that Sibia could have stood by it all day. But there were other wonders to see. Satin sewn with real silver thread, tin trays from Birmingham, and a sari which had got chips of looking glass. So chips is pieces.
Satin suit.
Threads of satin. Embroidered into the border. She joined the crowd round a Kashmiri traveling merchant on his way to the bungalows. He was showing dawn-colored silks that poured like cream, and he'd got a little locked chest with turquoises and opals in it. Best of all, a box which, when you pressed it, a bell tinkled and a yellow woolen chicken jumped out. There was no end to the wonders of the world. But Sibia, in all her life from birth to death, was marked for work. Since she could toddle, toddle means hardly walk. She had husked corn and gathered sticks and put dung to dry and cooked and weeded and carried and fetched water and cut grass for fodder. She was going with her mother and some other women now to get paper grass from the cliffs above the river. When you had enough of it, you could take it down by bullock cart to the railhead and sell it to the agent who would arrange for its dispatch to the paper mills. The women often toiled all day at this work, and the agent sat on silk cushions smoking a hookah. Such thoughts did not trouble Sylvia. However, as she skipped along with her sickle, sickle is a cutting device. So it's not a knife, it is like this. This is the handle, and then you have seen this kind of a device? Cutting device. This is a sickle. You can make it in your textbook if you want. It is used in somebody's flag. Can you recognize whose flag? Whose flag has a sickle? Red color flag with a white sickle of it. The Russian flag, the communist flag has this symbol on the flag. Like we have the charkha, or rather we used to have, they have the sickle. इसको हिंदी में क्या होता है? Farming, harvesting. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Okay, now I will also show you the hay fork. Hay fork is nothing but like a huge fork. लास्ट में जब ऑनलाइन पढ़ा रहे थे तो हम लोग ये सब यूट्यूब पे दिखा रहे थे. This is a hay fork. कभी-कभी यहाँ से थोड़ा सा twisted होता है. सूखे पत्तों को गैदर करने के लिए. This is a hay fork. You know what is hay? सूखी हुई घास, brown grass जो होती है dry, उसको hay बोलते हैं. तो ऐसे वो लोग इकट्ठा करते हैं.
So what would be right for definition?
Definition. Meaning, you can say hay collecting tool. These are all tools and devices. आजकल इस तरीके का मशीन आता है जिसमें ये hay fork बना होता है और वो huge तरीके से वो कलेक्ट करता है fruits वगैरह. काफी है YouTube में, even shorts में they show all this machines होता है सब में. Suddenly इसको क्या होता है?
Nothing like today.
So hay fork we are writing hay collecting tool. However, as she skipped along with her sickle and homemade hay fork beside her mother, you could skip on the way out, but not on the way back. Skipped meaning jumping while walking. What should I say? Skipping, walking, hopping while walking. You could skip on the way out, but not on the way back, when you ached with tiredness and there was a great load to carry. What is your name, beta? Rahul. Raghav. You will read 96?
Yes.
अच्छा पहले ब्रेक ले लो फिर आप फिर पढ़ेंगे.